You're always out in the field, I know. So I have to look at my notes here to remember things to say about Chris's illustrious 30-year career. He started in 1996 as a gardener in the very tiny Natural Resources Unit with Lisa Wayne. There was 2 of them. And just thinking that over the years, the program that Lisa and Chris have created is so impressive. And so Chris was a gardener in that position for 5 years. And when they started out, it was just the 2 of them, as I said, and they had 32 natural areas that they were responsible for, which is a little overwhelming when you realize that most PSAs are 35 parks with a whole slew of people. And so, but the thing is, between the 2 of them, they, of course, went to work and created plans. Now, this man, I have never seen a planner like Chris before. We'll get into that a little bit more. But, you know, not only did they created these work plans for every single natural resource area through the seasons, depending on what species were endemic to the area, but they also built a community around each one of these natural areas. Since it was the 2 of them, they relied a lot on volunteer services. Thank you all. But really bringing the community in to help support these natural areas. He then was promoted up to acting supervisor, which he was acting supervisor for 11 years. And then he actually became the natural resource supervisor in 2012, and then they were, converted to he was the natural resource chief specialist, and so he was the supervisor of the area officially for 9 years, but it seems to me that 20 years he was the supervisor. And so then he became the natural resource chief specialist when Lisa moved on to the PUC, and he's been doing that for 4 years. The thing is, I really didn't know a lot of what Chris and his team did. I mean, I knew what they did, but when he started reporting to me 2 years ago, I was bowled over by his organization skills, his communication skills, how much people loved him and loved working with him. Yeah. And I called him he's the king of spreadsheets. I've never seen anybody use spreadsheets with such efficacy as Chris. And he will pass that on to Anthony and the rest of his crew. So, but one thing is, when somebody's in this department for 30 years, it really speaks to, especially in one area, it really speaks to the amount of dedication, patience, and persistence that Christopher exemplifies. So, thank you for everything, Chris. You're an amazing person. You've done an amazing job, and just thank you for all you've done.
All right. Along with Chris here today, we also have the other co-founder of our Natural Resources Program. Lisa Wayne is here. We were here just 5 years ago, and I don't think that you guys have had the opportunity, and you, Chris, to build a program from the ground up like kind of nobody else almost in this department. You really have created a program where natural areas are respected in this department and in this city in a way that they weren't acknowledged, strangely enough, in San Francisco as their importance for biodiversity and all that. And, it was an evolution over time. I had meant to bring you a special bouquet that I was going to create. It was going to have German ivy in her heart. I and to get, it would have been great. I didn't know if people would be offended by that. But anyway, I think some of the key things, obviously, over that time is working on creating and implementing the Natural Resource Management Plan, which was an effort across this department. But you were so instrumental, and that it is so critical to guiding what happens to our natural resource areas, and also just really importantly, creating a new classification in the city, which is just not an easy thing, the natural resource specialist and the chief natural resource specialist, where that really acknowledged the nature of the work and it as a specialty on its own. And it's really helped build the structure of this program so that it will continue. And most importantly, it's going to continue without you. And you've developed a great team who have that all built for them. And that's really a testament to you. And you also are just, I don't know of anybody who's encyclopedic on every square inch of 1,000 acres of natural resource areas, and just knowing like that spot, and there's always a name for that spot that nobody else knows, and because you got to figure out where is that, and what is that?
I thought everyone had that.
Yeah, well, they do, but yeah. And also I learned and I'm stealing your thunder a bit, but he really did actually start at Bodecker, raking hypodermic needles on his first day of work. And so, that has changed over time, but it shows a dedication to this department and to the mission of this department. And I think, it's going to be hard seeing you go, but you deserve a retirement like we all do someday. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Sarah.
Hi, everybody. Chris asked if I was going to roast him, which was sort of normally would be my jam, but I actually can't think of any roasty things to say about this wonderful human being. Although I think that's later. That's up next. That's up next, so stick around. 30 years is incredible. What an incredibly dedicated public servant, environmental steward. We are so lucky to have you. I have had the pleasure in my now 17, I think, years at the department of getting to work really closely with Chris, in part because back in the day, the volunteer division, which was under me as a director of policy and public affairs, shared space with the natural resources team in the park aid station until how many years ago, Jen?
2016.
Okay, so for the first 6 years that I worked at the department, we had shared space, and I also had the pleasure of working closely with Chris and Lisa to get the SINRAMP, the Significant Natural Resources Area Plan, for those of you that don't love acronyms, but we all work in government, so we love acronyms, through the Board of Supervisors and getting that approved, which was no small feat. And through that, I came to know a lot of the work of the Natural Areas team and of Chris in particular, and all of the work that you've done with community, all of the incredible work you've done that most San Franciscans probably don't even notice, because that's what really good native habitat looks like, right? It looks like nothing ever happened here. And I think what's so impressive about Chris is, of course, all of his accomplishments, but really the way he has done his work. I've never seen you without a smile. It's pretty impressive. And you bring people together and bring a joy to your work and to all of us that get to be around you in a way that is so special. And so while this is a bittersweet moment for the department, I am so happy for you as a person, and I know that you are going to carry that joy and the passion that you bring to this job. You're going to carry it into the next chapter of your life, into your art, into your friendships, into your relationship, into all the cool things that you're going to get to do with all your extra time. And maybe we'll even get you back as a volunteer sometime. So join me in raising your metaphorical glass to the wonderful, the fabulous, the incomparable Chris Campbell. And we have for you, I get to present to you, and you can unwrap the envelope, please. I get to present the Oscar for most federally listed endangered species taken care of. The award goes to Christopher Campbell. And for all your picnics in your retirement, you have a cooler with, I think, some good stuff inside.
Thank you so much.
All right. Congratulations.
So now is the time if anybody wants to come up and say nice things about Chris. I see you guys over there. That Dave wants to start first.
Thanks, Carol. First, I want to say thanks to everyone that helped with the party. So Gabe did all the flowers. Those are all natives from the nursery. So thanks, Gabe. Section 5 crew helped with all the barbecuing and preparing the site. Looks great. Great food. And your staff helped with setup. So thanks, everybody.
Dave cooked all the chicken. Dave did all
I didn't
the
cook it.
chicken and the salads.
Whatever. So I sit across from, what? Oh, you're welcome. Thanks everyone for coming. I sit across from Chris, and yeah, we work together. We do a lot of collaboration, but most of all, he's my friend. He's a really good person. I've really grown to love you, Chris. You're really great, and I'm gonna miss you. I look across already; it's half empty, and I really started to well up the other day. I'm like, wow, it's like a hole has been created. But you've done great things for our department, and you're so well loved. You're such a good dude. You're just a good person. So we're gonna miss you. So thanks a lot, and you get to speak last. Next, because you talk a lot. Anyone else have some words to say? Well, of course, Lisa.
Sounds like it's my retirement too. But I have to go back to work tomorrow. Dang. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, this might be hard. I'm gonna. All right, let's start with something. So we have known each other for 28 plus years. So there's a lot of material there. I will try to keep it brief. I met Christopher when he interviewed for the then Natural Areas program, the first gardener. We were in what's called now the William Hammond Hall conference room. It was the commission room at the time. And Christopher comes in off of his beat at Campbell, and he's wearing like a dirty red sweatshirt, and he's just slouching back in the interview, and we're asking him questions like, what's your interest in natural resources? And he's like super nonchalant, like to the point I was like, does this guy really want the job? And so despite all that, I don't know why, but I did hire you. And I come to find out later he really did want the job, like really, really badly. But he was nervous. Yes, I guess so. We all get that way. But I have to say it was the best damn decision I ever made in my life. It was the beginning of a long, working, and loving friendship. When we first started, as I think Carol and Eric mentioned, there was this huge job, and we didn't know what to do. We were wandering around, and Christopher had an interest in natural resources, but his background was really more in horticulture. And so we would walk around in these 32 natural areas going like, where do we begin? There's all this deferred maintenance, like, who's gonna pull all those hundreds of acre broom, right? And he was learning his native plants along the way. So the first question that we would always land at a spot, and he'd go, what's that plant? I'd say, it's yarrow or whatever. And the second question was always, can I eat it?
Never changed.
So the first year, Christopher basically tasted his way through the natural areas, learning until he had an unfortunate digestive experience having tasted some coffee berry on Bayview Hill, and that stopped. That second question never went on after that. Okay, so he and I have been through a lot of challenges. You've heard about some of them. We came on and we started this volunteer, really community-based stewardship program, but there were people already doing that work. So we weren't really coming in to teach them. We really were trying to build off of what had already been done. Folks like Jake Sig, RIP Jake, and the Pitchells and so many of these other people. And they all had really strong opinions, of course, because they're San Franciscans. And we had, and we had to win them over. And really, it was really because of your patience, your personality, your openness, you're willing to communicate with these folks that over the years that those detractors, even people like Jake, right? He was one of our hardest critics. You won them over. And the lists, he would meet with Jake and these lists would be hundreds of items long. And Christopher would go through them one by one. Yes, we're working on that. That's a really good idea, but we're not gonna. Long conversations. And toward the end, those lists became so short. And I think it was really a testimony to the fact that Christopher listened and he worked with him in collaboration and built that trust, right? That was the foundation of the program. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two was this department. It was mentioned earlier, right? This department had a tradition, William Hammond Hall, landscape gardening, the idea of protecting biodiversity. It was a little bit of an uphill climb for the department. We can say that now. We're gone. We're leaving. And again, it was through your collaboration with the beat gardeners, with the supervisors, the communication, the willingness to outreach, the willingness to work together, that you built really an appreciation, which is now, everyone takes it for granted in this department now, but I'm telling you, the commitment to urban biodiversity and natural resource conservation was really foreign 28 years ago in this department. And we had to really push the ball up a hill, and it was really this guy, boots on the ground, making those relationships happen. And the third, and the biggest challenge of them all was the public at large and the broader community. When we started, we thought, oh, yeah, who doesn't love natural resources and ecology? Well, geez, it turns out a lot of people didn't like what we were doing. Hindsight is 20/20. So, we went through so many controversial meetings, supported by Sarah, by many people in the department, that, City Hall, commission meetings, PROSAC meetings, nasty grams, Chronicle articles, TV spot, it was a full-on onslaught. And I might have been the one standing at the podium, but you were really there 100% all the time, backing me up. I felt like when I would come back completely dejected, it was this guy who would lift me up and say, what we're doing is the right thing, talk through, give the support. I felt like you always had my back. All right, well, so that's enough about challenges. Let me just end by saying your legacy here is incredible, Christopher. the restoration of Islayas Creek, the Phil Arnold Trail, the Oak Woodlands Trail, the stuff you've been doing recently at Yerba Buena and Treasure Island, like the grassland restoration, the professional staff that you have built here. It is an incredible legacy. The trails program, you know, all that stuff, right? You helped create, and you were foundational in creating it, and you've created a legacy here that was gonna last like a long, long time. So I hope you take that in and you really absorb all that love here, and the accomplishments that you've had here. And I know that retirement is a word and it's a moment in time, and I know you are going to come back. You're going to continue to be an advocate without the constraints of being a city employee, which is very nice. Sign the sky up for your next community meeting. But I'll just end by saying I know that you are still going to be active and involved and fighting the fight, and being an advocate for these beautiful places for a long time to come. And I so much value and love you, and just appreciate that you have always had my back. And congratulations on retirement.
Do we have anybody else? Oh, that'll kill me.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is a big one for me. 30 years, you and I together, you know. So, public service announcement, the TMA system called and said that it's no longer your total makeover assistant.
All right.
Or to have things made available and stated without too many assumptions of things you might add. All those TMAs. But anyway, I digress. I digress. It's all serious, Christopher. Perhaps as much amused like an urban John Muir, you've always possessed and practiced in passion and purpose the care of our city's natural world. In this cradle is a storied career. At Record Park, together, that is something I and our Jake Sig know and look down at you, and will always be proud and resolved in gratitude having shared this journey with you. I could have written this 50 times over, but so much to say. But you know, there's been many challenges, right? Like Lisa said, we've been through a million, but it's been mostly joys in our profession and path together. And it's a very personal and deep one I'll always hold dear. You've always been a steadfast leader with our department that we count on. And that I don't think is going to somehow change in the future. I don't think we're done. Sneaky suspicion. Your dedication is truly legacy stuff. And so I just want to keep it brief, and just please join me in raising a wonderful cheer to this storied career and this wonderful man who we call Christopher Campbell. I love you. You're replaceable, buddy. You're replaceable.
Anyone else? All right, Chris, it's your turn.
I thought I would start off with, this will only be 5 minutes, because everything that I think is only going to be 5 minutes, because my assumption to get work done is that it'll take 5 minutes to do this task that might take weeks to do. But I won't be here that long. It's true, my overcommitment. I just want to give a big shout out, Lisa. You have been an amazing mentor. That I always told people that I'm the new Lisa Wayne when I became the manager. But my experience working with the Natural Resources Division has been really life-changing. I feel like it's allowed me to grow to a potential I didn't realize that I had. And I want to say thank you as well to Eric, to Carol, Dave, to Denny, who's not here, Sarah, and a number of other individuals that I can't remember who now because I'm overcome with emotion. But I feel so fortunate to be where I am. And then most importantly, I share all the time. As manager, you get credit for things, but I'm only as good as the people that I work with. And so, importantly, hats off to the Natural Resources Division. Matt Pruitt, amazing IPM. Anthony Copioli, he's going to be acting in my absence. Natural Resources Unit. Joe Gray, Urban Trails, and Spencer Potter, who's not here to join us now. And then the entire crew of everyone under there. There's about 18 people that work under me. Without your true dedication, as I have had through my career, we wouldn't get done what we are able to get done. And everyone really comes so fully prepared to give all of their being into the work that we do. The department, the Recreation and Park Department, gets so much work done with so few resources, and it's because of everybody here. And I say all the time as well, I'm so fortunate to be part of this team. This is such an amazing team of people. And to decide that I'm going to walk away from it is a really interesting choice. And I was going to talk a bit about the challenges that we had, but one of the things about our program that I really love as well is our adaptive nature. So we've learned to work through things and figure different problems out. And one of the things, grassland management, for those of you who know that managing grasslands is really hard, oxalis was such a bear for us to try to get around and try to work with and address, and we had to approach so many different ways to really achieve that and to get to where we are now, where it's in a manageable position and situation, where our grasslands now are again regenerating, thriving, and supporting habitat for federally listed endangered mission blue butterfly, as well down at Sharp Park for the garter snake and the California red-legged frog. It's been really amazing, and it's a testament of Lisa, who was the head of the program at that time, to also allow us to experiment. So one of the things, we had many failures in what we did. And that was one of the ways that we really learned a lot in what worked and what doesn't work. And without failure, we really don't know how well we're going to do without going forward with who knows what's next. And so, with that and through all of that, Lisa brought up the relationships that we've built. And I feel so fortunate to be friends with all of you here. And it's so important to me. Community is one of the most important things in the world to me. My friends are really the most important thing in the world. Our time here is so short, and how we share experiences together is so meaningful. And I have that with everyone here in a different way. And those of you who know me really well know I'm really, really sensitive. And I'm a really easy cry. I climb over the hill, I drive over the hill, and I see a beautiful sunset, and it's enough to bring me to tears because it's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And it's like that in work as well, and the experiences that we've had, and we've been able to transform properties, and that we all have a legacy here. Every one of us here are part of that. And that the department now does fully embrace the work that we do. Lisa alluded to it earlier, that was not that way, and it was really hell. To argue our way into this is really the right new direction to go, to now it is a given. I tell folks who are newer in the division how hard it was to get reclassified, how hard it was for me to get compensated for the work that I was doing, but I wasn't always doing it for the money. Actually, I was, but we're getting paid, so I won't lie. But it was really my devotion to the work that we do. And then with that, in my departure, I'm going to try to keep this 5 minutes, probably more than that now. In my departure, I feel really fortunate, and I believe that the future of the division is going to go really well. Where's Matt Pruitt? Did he leave? Here he is. So I was telling Matt earlier that, one of the things about the supervisors in the Natural Resources Division, they're all so self-motivated. They made my job so easy. I never had to address them. They were already doing the task that I would want them to do. They're ahead of me much of the time. It was small corrections here or there, if ever. And I think with that said, the unit's going to go forward really well, and I feel really fortunate to be in this place that I'm leaving a lot of information for both Matt and Anthony, whoever long-term are in the position, assuming it's one of them. I feel like the unit will go forward well. Lisa invested her life in the program. I too mine. Half of my life has been spent here, and I feel so much part of this, and I'm really thankful for that. And I'm looking forward to not having to check in every day and have to manage people, and I'll just have to manage myself, which is a lot to manage. But I'm looking forward to traveling and painting. And I don't think I've shared my personal phone number or email with folks, and I would really like to do that because I'll show art throughout the rest of my life, I hope. And I would love for people to come out and just say hello if that's the only time that we can possibly get together. I would love that. But I'd also love to do things in the park, elsewhere. And if you're ever doing something, I would love to be included in it. I love people, and I love all of you. What Dylan said before, I'm nothing without you. I remember one of his celebrations, I think it's 50th, standing on a stool and said that. I was like, that's kind of an amazing line. But thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out and celebrating my retirement, and thank you so much for the support that you have given me through my entire career. I really feel so honored. Thank you.
If everyone can bring up the chair when they're done, that'd be great. And also, if you haven't paid me, I'm right here. So there's a few of you. Thank you. Show me the money.